how hard you tried to visualize or set intentions, something kept you stuck. This might be the most important idea you encounter. There is a reason your efforts often feel like they're working against you. It's not because you lack discipline or clarity. It's because most of what you've been taught about creating change relies on force. Forcing your mind to think positively, forcing your body to stay motivated, forcing reality to bend to your timeline. But in the realm of quantum physics and consciousness, force is rarely the catalyst for transformation. Instead, there is a phenomenon that explains why so many people get exhausted chasing results that never seem to materialize. It's called frequency interference. When your internal state is filled with effort, tension, and the anxiety of wanting something to happen, you introduce noise into your signal. From the perspective of the quantum field, your energy becomes inconsistent. One part of you is broadcasting desire, but another part is broadcasting fear that it won't arrive. And the field responds to the totality of that signal, not just your stated intention. In this video, you're going to learn about what I call the quantum frequency shift, a state change so fundamental it reorganizes your entire relationship with reality. It's not about thinking harder, working more, or performing elaborate rituals. It's about creating a coherent frequency inside your own field that resonates with what you're choosing to experience. And the paradox is this: the moment you stop forcing reality to comply with your will, the energy you've been scattering in frustration consolidates, your nervous system calms, your awareness expands, you move from a contracted signal to a harmonious one, and in that state, the field begins to reflect your intention more clearly. If this sounds abstract, consider the science behind it. Every thought you have produces an electromagnetic signature. Every emotional state generates measurable patterns in your heart and brain. When you're stressed, your heart rhythm becomes erratic, your breath constricts, and your brain waves fragment into disordered frequencies. This is called incoherence, and it creates what researchers describe as biological noise. You can think of it like trying to tune an old radio to a clear station while static is blaring in the background. No matter how beautiful the music is, you can't hear it because the signal isn't clean. This is why many people spend years repeating affirmations or visualization techniques without experiencing meaningful change. They are layering positive thoughts over a body that remains in survival mode. They are projecting desire while embodying resistance. And so, no matter how many times they say, "I am abundant," the field receives the underlying vibration of lack. The quantum frequency shift isn't a method you do. It's a shift you allow by creating conditions for coherence to arise naturally. In other words, it's about aligning your physiology and awareness in a way that your energy stabilizes into a singular powerful signal. Today, you'll learn how to create this shift and why it doesn't require you to be perfect or constantly monitor every thought. You'll see that your nervous system is capable of reorganizing itself when you simply provide it with the right inputs, slower breathing, an intention rooted in curiosity rather than desperation, and a willingness to let go of urgency. Before we explore the science and the technique, I want you to consider something. Every outcome in your life has been shaped by the frequency you consistently broadcast, not the one you occasionally visit when you feel inspired, but the one you return to when no one is watching. That frequency isn't a moral judgment of your worth. It's simply the composite of your thoughts, emotions, and biological state. When you understand this, it becomes clear why no amount of forcing or striving can override a chronically coherent signal. But the moment you experience coherence, when your breath, heart, and mind synchronize, something shifts. You feel it in your body, a softening, an openness, a quiet sense that you don't need to prove or chase anything. And ironically, it's often in this state of non-attachment that reality begins to respond in ways you once thought required effort. In the next part of this experience, we're going to look at the scientific foundation for this shift. You'll discover how researchers measure coherence, why it's so essential to transforming your energy, and how this process aligns perfectly with what ancient traditions have always taught about surrender, presence, and trust. Stay with me, because once you understand this, you'll realize that the life you've been trying to force into existence is already available, waiting for you to tune to its frequency. If you've ever wondered whether this idea of a frequency shift is just spiritual metaphor or something that science can actually measure, you're not alone. It's natural to want evidence before you trust something that sounds intangible. But what's extraordinary about the intersection of quantum physics, neuroscience, and ancient spiritual traditions is that they all point to the same principle. Your internal state isn't just a feeling, it's a signal, and that signal is shaping how reality unfolds around you moment by moment. Let's begin with the science. In the field of neurocardiology, researchers have discovered that your heart produces the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body, many times stronger than the field generated by your brain. This field extends several feet beyond your skin, and it's measurable with modern instruments like magnetocardiograms. When you feel frustration, anxiety, or any form of survival stress, your heart rhythm becomes jagged and erratic. This is called incoherence. Incoherence is not a moral failing. It's simply the signature of a nervous system in defense mode. But here's the problem. When your heart rhythm is disordered, your brain waves become chaotic as well. Your breath shortens, your immune system goes on high alert, and your perception narrows to scan for threats. This is an ancient survival mechanism that once helped us avoid danger. But in modern life, it often becomes a chronic baseline, one that broadcasts a signal of stress into the quantum field, whether you realize it or not. Now, contrast this with the state of coherence. When you intentionally slow your breathing and focus your awareness on feelings of appreciation or calm, your heart rhythm becomes smooth and synwave-like. Scientists call this a state of heart-brain coherence, and it has measurable effects. Stress hormones like cortisol decrease. Regenerative hormones like DHEA increase. Your brain waves synchronize with your heart rhythm. Your immune system strengthens. Your perception expands beyond fear-driven thinking. This is not theory, it's data. And from a quantum perspective, coherence creates a stable, powerful frequency, one that interacts with the field in ways incoherence cannot. Imagine it like tuning forks. When one tuning fork vibrates at a certain frequency, a nearby fork begins to resonate with that same frequency through a phenomenon called entrainment. Your coherent field works similarly. When you maintain this state, you entrain your environment and the probabilities within the field to match your signal. This is why in elevated states, synchronicities appear more often. Solutions arrive seemingly out of nowhere, and life begins to feel like it's flowing rather than resisting you. Ancient traditions described this state long before modern science. Yogic texts spoke of samadhi, a state of deep presence and unity. Mystics called it surrender, the art of releasing control and allowing a higher intelligence to organize reality. In Taoist philosophy, it's known as wuyui or effortless action. While the language varies, the essence is the same. When you release resistance and align your inner state, reality reorganizes itself in response. But let's be clear, coherence doesn't mean you never feel fear or doubt. It means you don't live there. You learn to witness those fluctuations without collapsing your entire energy field into them. You return to the baseline of calm more easily because your nervous system has been trained to recognize it as home. This is why the quantum frequency shift isn't about forcing yourself to feel good all the time. It's about cultivating the conditions slower. Breath, relaxed awareness, authentic intention that allow coherence to arise naturally. Once you experience this, you realize something profound. Effort is often a symptom of misalignment. The harder you push, the more you signal to the field that you are separate from what you want. The more you release and attune, the more naturally life begins to reflect your inner state. This is why so many people feel exhausted on the path of personal development. They're trying to solve internal incoherence with more information, more techniques, more performance. But the quantum field doesn't respond to volume. It responds to clarity. So how do you create clarity? You learn to notice when you're in incoherence and gently return to coherence over and over. You let go of urgency. You remember that the field is participatory. It mirrors back the frequency you emit. And you realize that the shift you've been waiting for doesn't require external proof before you trust it. In the next part of this experience, I'm going to guide you step by step through the quantum frequency shift technique. You'll see that it's deceptively simple, a combination of breath, focus, and a single question that dissolves resistance. If you practice it with sincerity, you'll begin to feel the unmistakable difference in your own energy, sometimes within minutes. Stay present because this is